excited about this new series that we're going to be doing called God Is. And I love how this particular church dramatized it with a picture of a puzzle that's put together, and when it says who God is, it's a picture of Jesus. Jesus put the pieces together for us as to who God is. He explained who God is. And today we're going to look at particularly, and I wanted to give credit to Pastor Mike Hilson, who, along with a teaching pastor there at his church, they put this series together. And he's at New Life Wesleyan Church. I love to hear him preach, too, because he has that southern accent, and he's just a fun preacher to listen to. So if you want to hear the real good message, find him online and listen to him. But I just love the things that he shares. But he talks, this first message is about the fact that God is all-wise, sovereign. In other words, if you want to hear a big word, God is omnipotent. That means that God is all-knowing. He knows everything. He has complete and total knowledge. He knows all about it all. Everything, no matter what it is. I know a few things, but I know I don't know a lot. And it seems like every time I talk to somebody, especially our children, how is it that they got smarter than me? I don't get it, but they are. I'll be sitting there talking to them, and they'll correct me. He's like, "No, that's a..." I'm like, "What? Ugh. No, I'm right. No, maybe they're right." There's just so much information and things to know, and God knows it all. And I want you to see, in particular today, that God's wisdom and power are perfect. I know mine is not. I know I don't have it all together, but God's wisdom and power are perfect. God's wisdom doesn't need any improvement or more understanding. God is perfect. He doesn't make mistakes. It's like this. You don't see God saying, "Oops." He never does. In fact, he never says, "Now, how did that happen?" Or, "Where did that come from? I don't get it." No, God does. He gets it all the time. He knows what everything means, and he has understanding about everything. We don't, but he does. In Romans 11:33, it says, "Oh, the depths of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out." You can't even figure it all out, all these things that he knows. But then, how do we describe God? When it comes to trying to tell somebody who God is, how do we do it? Well, he's as kind as, and we might name some person, or he's all loving, and it's by our definition of what love is. And anytime we try to describe God, it's always on our human understanding, our human terms. But the fact is, God is other. He is completely different than what we think. He's so much more than we understand. We have no human descriptions to even explain who he is. There is no such thing as a perfect human. Jesus Christ was perfect. Jesus Christ was sinless. But Jesus Christ was the Son of Man and the Son of God. He was God. There is no word that can tell of God. Let's look today in our text, and it's found in 1 Corinthians chapter 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 1. People sometimes believe in themselves more than God. I mean, think about it. They put their faith in their culture and their high intellect. Here in the United States, we put a lot of faith in democracy, in our republic, in our founding fathers, in our Constitution. I'm not saying any of that's bad, but we do put a lot of faith in all of those things. But when all those things become more where our faith is than God, then we need to have a better understanding as to who God is. And that's what we want to look at. We want to look at some of the characteristics of God here. I'm going to start with verse 18. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. But to those of us who are being saved, it is the power of God. You know, things are no different today than they were back then. People today also think that the message of the cross is just a bunch of foolishness. I mean, there's lots of other religions out there that don't include a cross. And when you try to explain what the cross is about and who Jesus is, they say that doesn't make sense. Why would God come and die? And so for a lot of people, they just reject that. They, again, just like the Jews themselves and many people today, why would Jesus come and live and die? That doesn't make sense. So Paul is explaining to us again, this message of the cross is just foolishness to people. But it actually is the power of God. Verse 19, it says, for it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, the intelligence of the intelligent I will frustrate. Now, some people reading that scripture would say, why is God mad at smart people? I mean, that's kind of what it's saying. I'm going to frustrate you just because you have intelligence. I'm just going to mess you up. Why would he do that? Why would he be frustrated with people? Why would he be angry with people who have any kind of knowledge and any kind of intellect? Well, there are all kinds of sources of wisdom in our world today. In fact, I typed in how to find wisdom. And I can tell you there was a lot of New Age stuff out there to help us find wisdom. In fact, I think about my generation when I grew up, from the time I was a young woman. Even today, she's no longer necessarily has her talk show, but a lot of young women looked to Oprah for wisdom. They wanted to know what she was reading, and they thought that she was so full of wisdom. My brother, who is Buddhist, attends a wisdom circle where men get together and talk things out and figure out wisdom together and learn from each other. And sometimes we kind of do that with each other. We just kind of share our ideas and we try to gain wisdom by talking things through. But this verse is telling us that whatever wisdom we have is not actually wisdom, not perfect wisdom. It's only so-called real wisdom. And God will reveal true wisdom to us, his perfect wisdom. If God is right, and he is, he blows up all kinds of other wisdom. Let's keep on going. Verse 20. Where is the wise man? Where is the scholar? Where is the philosopher of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? Have we not seen that in our world today? Where are the wise of this age? Who would you consider a wise person today? We have Rex. We all appreciate Rex's wisdom and the things that he has to share. But even his wisdom is limited. Verse 21. For since in the wisdom of God, the world through its wisdom did not know him, God was pleased through the foolishness of what was preached to save those who believed. See, the world's wisdom denies completely God and looks for wisdom from all kinds of other sources. And oftentimes we look for wisdom from within ourselves, from what we know. Well, if I don't understand, I'll just read some more, or I'll think back, I'll figure it out. We're very kind of self-reliant that way. We come up with our own answers, our own solutions. I like this verse where it says, and God was pleased through the foolishness of what was preached to save those who believe. So that means that even if I mess up as a pastor and a preacher, God can still use that message to turn around and still save people. Some people will hear things even despite the fact that I may not get it right. He speaks. Verse 22. Jews demand miraculous signs, and Greeks look for wisdom. Now we have two different groups of people. See, non-Christian religious people are looking for a sign. In other words, they're looking for magic. Isn't that what you see about a lot of religious people, even religious people who are religious? I don't mean people who are not following Christ and have received Christ as their Lord and Savior, but I'm talking about people who are religious. They're looking for miracles. You know that, because why do they ask you to pray? Non-Christians in your community, why do they ask you to pray? Because they're looking for some kind of magic from God. God, heal me, do this, make things change. They want something, some kind of sign, just like the people back in Jesus' time. Today, we're looking for something miraculous to prove that God has it all under control. They want some kind of magic trick to prove his power. They believe in the supernatural, just not Jesus. Look at all the new religions that are popping up all over our country today, and how many young people truly are following after more New Age thinking. Transcendental meditation was really big when I was a young woman too. So many of my friends were saying, I just meditate and I'll figure it out, it'll come to me. We're looking for some kind of miracle. But then he talks about the Gentiles as well. And when he talked about the Gentiles, you could say maybe even those who do not believe in God, the atheists, they're looking for wisdom to figure it out. They only have to prove how smart they are. Isn't that really what we hear oftentimes? I can't believe in God. The very intelligent ones. I mean, all of our top thinkers today in our country would say there is no God. Why do you follow God? That's foolishness. Because they think they're smarter than God. They think they've got all the answers that the world needs. Some of them don't even believe in science. Verse 23. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jews and foolishness to the Gentiles. Paul states that Christians preach Christ crucified. That's not a miracle. That's not what they were looking for. That's not what the Jews expected. Again, they expected Jesus to come in and just take over the world. So this sign has become a stumbling block for the Jews. It's keeping them from putting their faith in Jesus because he wasn't their conquering hero. A crucified leader cannot be wise, cannot be a wise way to save the world. Isn't that a song that we hear at Christmas time? It's a strange way to save the world, to have Jesus come and die. No one who is truly in charge can go to all that effort to just make a point by dying. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logic. Is it logical for the Son of God to die on a cross? But God did. God got it. God had the wisdom. He knew what needed to happen. Verse 24, but those who God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God, and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than man's wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than man's strength. The power and the wisdom of God empowers us. Listen again. God is perfect. He has perfect wisdom. He has all knowledge. He has it all figured out. You don't. Let me explain it a little bit this way. He knows all the facts. He has complete knowledge about everything. He has the complete knowledge about everything in your life, no matter what it is. Everything in your past, everything that's going on right now, and everything that's going to happen in the future. He knows it all. You're not keeping any secrets from him. If there are things in your past that you don't understand, and maybe you're a little angry with God about those things happening in your life, he knows them. He knows what happened. He knows what decisions were made by other people that might have harmed you and hurt you. He knows that. He knows what you're thinking right now. He knows what you're planning right now. He knows what other possibilities there are even for your future. And he knows what's going to happen in the future. Isaiah 46 put it this way: remember the former things, those of long ago. I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is no one like me. I have known the end from the beginning. I have known the end from the beginning. From ancient times, what is still to come. I say, my purposes will stand, and I will do all that I please. So no matter what's happened in the past, what's happening right now, and what's going to happen in the future, God's plan is still going to happen. He's got it all figured out. I want you to consider, just personally, decisions you've made in the past. Again, that maybe you weren't happy with those decisions, and they affected your life, and there were consequences because of those decisions. I want you to know that God knew that. He knows that. He knows what you did in the past. Again, I'm talking about the present time. We're making decisions right now. It seems like in January we really think about that a lot, don't we? It's like, what did I do last year? I want to do some things different. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what your plans are. And he knows what you're going to do in the future. This is where it gets really crazy. I really want you to think about it, because I truly believe this is true. Not only does he know what you might do one way, he knows all the multiple ways you might do it, all the multiple decisions you might make. Now, I'm not recommending this show necessarily, but there's this show on television called Fringe. I don't know if any of you have watched it or seen it or heard of it. I just landed on it. And in this movie, or this television series, there are two different realities. So this woman lives in one reality here, but there's a whole nother reality where she's off someplace else. She falls in love with one person in this reality, but somebody else altogether different in the other realities. In the one reality, her childhood is happy. In the other reality, her childhood is not necessarily happy. I want you to know that God knows that. He knows how things would have been different if you'd made different decisions in the past. He knows that. He knows, even right now as you're making decisions, he knows all the possibilities. And when you ask him for wisdom, he's going to try to give you, and he won't try, he will give you wisdom on how to make that decision right now. But no matter what you do, because believe me, I have made mistakes even after seeking God. I'll say, God, I want to do what's right, and then I go off and do my own thing. I mess up. But he knew that could be a possibility. And just like Isaiah says, but my purpose will be done. No matter what decision you make today, my purpose will be done. He's got the big picture. And you know the cool thing about all this is, while he knows about your past and your present and your future, he also is keeping track of and knows about all the other 7 billion people on our planet. And he knows how their lives are going to intertwine in with your life. He knows about the people that are close to you, how their lives are going to intertwine in your life, how their decisions are going to affect you, or their lack of of interaction will affect you. He knows all about that. And yet he still will seek his purposes. He knows exactly how to act in your life. He knows exactly what to do for you. He knows how to pick up the pieces when you mess up. He knows how to bring people into your lives to redirect you if necessary, because he has all wisdom. Psalm 139, verse 4 says, "Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely." Again, he knows what you're thinking before you do it. He's got it all figured out. Acts 1:24 says, "Lord, you know everyone's heart." Boy, am I glad of that. Because sometimes my actions are not how I feel. I don't know about some of you that are married, but every once in a while, Andy will say to me, "Are you upset with me?" I know my heart, and I know I'm not, but my voice says something else. But God knows my heart. And even if I'm yelling at him, at God, and saying, "I don't like this, I don't want this," he knows my heart. He knows where the hurt is. He knows where the anger is coming from. And he knows that I still love him. And I want to be obedient to him. Not only can he handle your situation, but he can handle the situations of people around you. That's hard for me because sometimes I want to fix my kids and I want to get into their business, but God's working. Therefore, I want to remind you that we can trust God's perfect wisdom. He has perfect wisdom no matter what. Mike Hilson said it this way: even if I know all the facts, the trivia about everything, I can win a game. I can go on Jeopardy. I can do whatever like that, as long as I know all the facts and the trivia. But he goes on to say, but if I have wisdom, I will win life. If God can handle all the facts and all the data, don't you think he can handle you? God's not just a stick of wood. He's not some kind of mystic out there, some mystical force like, may the force be with you. No, he's more than that. He knows all the facts. He knows how to act. He knows what to do for you. So, we also need to look at our response, because our response is personal. We can't control other people's response, but we can control our own response. You have to make a choice to follow God's wisdom. Or you can just follow the world's wisdom. You know, that there's one thing about the world's wisdom, it's very conflicting intelligence. Just think about it this way. When you listen to the news, you go to one station and they tell you the facts, but somehow it comes out different, the outcome. Then you go to switch channels and you go and listen to the news again about something, that same event. And somehow the information is twisted yet another way. So, what are the facts? There's this intelligence, but it's not all the same. That's the way the world is. Here's another example. From the time you were young, especially our young people, Brad, I'm sure you had this in school. Don't do drugs, right? There was the DARE program. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. And yet you turn on the television and what does it say? Let's party. Let's go get some buds this weekend. You know, let's just have a great time. And in the movies, we're being told, don't do drugs, don't do things that are harmful for your body. And yet you go to the movies and all the movie stars are doing all those things. We're told one thing by our society, and yet they give us conflicting messages. Or here's another one. You are fine just the way you are. Don't change a thing. Be yourself. I have this $400 cream that will make you younger than ever. Right? Or what about January? Go to this fitness area, this fitness store, and get those pounds off. You're fine just the way you are, but be sure to join the gym. You're fine just the way you are, but this diet will help change your life. You're fine just the way you are. This toothpaste will make your teeth so shiny white. You get conflicting messages constantly. But God says you need forgiveness. He says, I will make you whole again. Can you do anything in your world, or really take anything in your world and trade it for what the blood of Christ did for your life? There's nothing. So Jesus is a stumbling block to religious people. They want magic. Jesus is foolishness to this world. They don't want God anyway. They don't see their world burning and falling down around them. But today, we can hold on to confident faith. God's intelligence and wisdom is worth all of our faith and trust. It's perfect. He knows all the facts, and he knows just how to act in your situation. How will you respond to his wisdom today? The world offers us only conflicting intelligence. Why not give your complete confidence and complete faith in him and him alone?